Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we are going to be talking about Antlers. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. Uh, well, this is a horror movie, and as I've said plenty of times in the past, one of the few genres that's actually doing really well right now in the pandemic has been horror. I mean, one of the top movies of the year is a horror movie, that movie being A Quiet Place Part 2. And hell, 2 weeks ago, Halloween Kills opened with nearly $50 million. And that had a Peacock release attached to it. So it's clear, the horror genre is still thriving. Granted, maybe not as well as it once was, but it's still doing well. So I can't call that a con. So I consider it a pro. The fact that Antlers is a part of a successful genre right now. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, it's a horror movie in October. The timing couldn't be any more perfect than that. Because as you know, October is the spooky month. It's the scary month of the year. So releasing a horror movie in October just makes all the sense in the world. And unlike many of the movies that are out right now, with this weekend being like Halloween weekend, I think this will benefit more than others because it is a horror movie. It won't suffer as much because Sunday is Halloween, so it might get a bit of a boost because of that. Or it could completely crumble because another horror movie, that movie being Halloween Kills, will definitely have the edge. But horror movie and the Halloween in October is perfect. It's ideal. It's almost as ideal as having a horror movie open on Friday the 13th. So I would consider that a pro, the scheduling of this movie. Another pro, well, this isn't a pro or a con, it's the reviews. Last I checked, it scores like at a 61%, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. So while it won't help the movie, it won't kill the movie either. So it's merely just like middle ground. So I'm not going to classify it as a pro or a con. I think that's it when it comes to pros. I mean, I guess I can mention this movie is being produced by Guillermo del Toro, man who brought us the first two Hellboy movies, the first Pacific Rim movie, Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water. Right, the dude has a fan base, a strong fan base, and I know because I'm part of that fan base. All right, and while his track record is a little spotty at times, I mean, look at the box office for Crimson Peak, for example. He still has a strong fan base, and I think some of that fan base will show up to watch this. I don't know how much, probably not a whole lot, but at least a few people will watch it because his name is attached to it. So I would consider that a relative pro, not a strong pro, just relative. Okay, cons. All right, first con right out the bat. This movie has been delayed by a long time, actually. It was supposed to come out in April of 2020, and then it got like indefinitely delayed after that, and then it was kind of just pushed to this weekend. And I've noticed like in like the weeks leading up to this movie coming out, there was just advertising was non-existent. It's like this movie it barely existed at all. I was wondering if it even had a wide release. That's how little advertising there was. And now there's advertising for it, but it's still not very strong, probably because Disney, who technically owns this movie, because this was Fox Searchlight, Disney owns Fox, so yeah. they're spending all their advertising dollars on the Eternals, which probably makes more sense. But still, this movie's just, it feels like it's kind of just getting dumped. It's getting buried. It's like they had this movie, they didn't know what to do with it, so they're just like, throw it on Halloween weekend. Like, who cares? And that's what they did. So I would consider that a con, lack of advertising, or at least strong advertising. So that's automatic con. Second con, Halloween weekend. Now I did mention that, because this is a horror movie, this might be less affected by the holiday, but still, Halloween is one of the worst days of the year when it comes to box office. Want to know why? Because obviously kids aren't going to watch this movie for obvious reasons. It's R-rated. But kids are out trick-or-treating. Teens and young adults are probably going to be out partying. I'm not sure if that's the best idea in these circumstances, but they can do whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure people will let it slide if they're all vaccinated. But yeah, they're doing that, and parents, are going to be with their kids trick or treating. So pretty much nobody's going to be at the theater that day. And what's even worse is that, like, if Halloween fell on a weekday, like Monday through Thursday, this wouldn't even be a problem. But it's not this year. It's going to be on a Sunday, which, although it's not as bad as it being on a Friday or a Saturday, it's still going to hurt to some extent. It might hurt all the movies, but I still think Antlers and Halloween Kills will, be, they won't be affected too much. I think Halloween Kills will get the bigger boost, to be honest, because obviously Halloween Kills, the movie's called Halloween. Like, come on now, we can all make that connection. But yeah, Antlers, Halloween weekend is still kind of a death sentence for movies, so I would consider that a con. Another con, I did say the horror genre's been doing one of the better performing genres. That doesn't mean every movie that's come out has been a hit. Not at all. I mean, last month we had Malignant, which, despite having James Wan's name attached to it, bombed hard. Partially because of HBO Max, but also because it would have been a very hard sell, and that movie did terrible. So if Malignant can't do well, then what chance does this movie have? Really, this is also an original horror. So yeah, just because Quiet Place 2 and Halloween Kills and even Conjuring 3 and others all made money doesn't mean you're automatically going to be a hit. All right, so I would consider that another con. Fourth con, my god, there are way too many movies coming out this weekend, and there's already enough movies out now, but now we just have like a barrage of movies. It's gonna be just way too crowded, to the point where a lot of these new movies are probably gonna fall through the cracks. And I have a suspicion this might be one of them. Maybe. I mean, it just depends if enough horror fans care about it. But yeah, it's usually not a good sign when like a whole bunch of movies come out at the same time where there's already a bunch of movies in theaters, because it's just going to lead to just a traffic jam. It's going to be a mess, a hot mess. So yeah, I would consider that a con. The fact that there's just so many movies, coming out this weekend, that in addition to the ones that are already out, like Venom, Let There Be Carnage, No Time to Die, Halloween Kills, Dune, all those. It's gonna be rough. I guess final con is next weekend we got the Eternals, and I feel like that might be one of those movies that kills all the other movies that came out the previous month, because obviously it's going to take away all the screens, all the, you know, basically all the dollars from the other movies. So this movie might not, I don't see this movie surviving past this weekend. I just don't. I don't see it happening. Oh, I didn't even mention another Searchlight horror movie that came out earlier this year, The Night House. That did terrible. That didn't even make. That didn't even open to $3 million. That's humiliating. So, ugh, again, not a good sign for Antlers. But yeah, I feel like after this weekend, this movie's gonna crumble. Mainly because next weekend is the start of the holiday movie season, right? And this movie's just gonna, because it's like a horror movie in October. Well, really, this is its only weekend to shine, and even then, I don't think it's going to. But after this weekend, it's just gonna fade into obscurity. So, yeah, that's final con. Next weekend is the Eternals. That's gonna get all the talk, all the attention, and this movie's gonna be an afterthought. So, yeah. Okay, opening weekend time. I already mentioned how the Night House opened with less than $3 million, and that was back in August. Will this movie do any better? Oh, it's a hard question. I've heard predictions that they're expecting this to make $5 million. Maybe, but I've been wrong on so many predictions lately these past few months that I'm going to be a lot more cautious. I think it's going to be in between those two numbers, between 3 and 5. So somewhere in the range of 3 to 5 million. That's where I think it's going to open. It might do better, but it might do worse too. You never know. But I'm going to, just to be safe, I'm going to have a range of 3 to 5 million dollars opening weekend. And then total 10 to 15, maybe closer to 10. And then, yeah, that'll be it. It'll fade into obscurity. So, yeah, that's Antlers. The first of five, five, five movies I have to talk about this weekend. And I know what you're going to say. What about Ghostbusters? That's getting a wide release. I'm not going to cover it because it's a re-release of the 1984 movie that's already been re-released before. It was re-released back in 2014 for like a 30th anniversary. So talking about it again is just pointless, especially considering we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters next month anyway because of Ghostbusters Afterlife. So making that video would be useless. So I'm not going to talk about it. And you're probably gonna say you did Courageous Legacy. That was a re-release that had like extra footage to it, so at least that had some purpose. This really doesn't, so I'm not talking about it. But yeah, ignoring Ghostbusters, I have to talk about Last Night in Soho, A Mouthful of Air, My Hero Academia, World's Heroes Mission, and The French Dispatch. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait to talk about all those movies. And then that'll be it for October, the last weekend of October. It literally ends this weekend. And then we move on to November. So, yeah. Anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage of all previous 2021 movies I've covered. I've covered pretty much all the major horror ones. Your Quiet Place 2s, your Halloween Kills, your Conjuring 3s, your Candymans, or all the others. There's been way too many. If you want to see my thoughts on those, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I don't think I've covered Antlers on the channel ever. Maybe it's like a passing remark, but like I never made like a legitimate video on it. But if you want to watch any of the past canceled episodes, I've now made like 85 up to this point. You can go right ahead. That way you're up to date on everything. And for box office recaps, I go over the box office results for any particular month. October recap will come out first week of November, right before the internals. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.